big builder in Summerlin. And I'm talking to her. I'm like, my clients really want this house. I kid you not, on my kid's life, you guys, she pulls me aside. This is the sales agent, okay? And she goes, so there's this bracelet I've really been wanting at Tiffany's. If you get me this bracelet.
From the grit and the grind to successful minds, live from the entertainment capital of the world, your hosts, Jillian Batchelor and Daryl Hannah.
Hey, guys. It is Jillian Batchelor.
And Daryl Hannah.
And we are Vegas Real Talk. And who do we have in store for us today, you guys? We have an amazing guest.
New home ninja.
It's true.
Which is Courtney Beauford. He's off of our team. He's amazing. He has been in real estate, 10, 15, 20, 40 years. No, just kidding. He's not 40 years old.
How long have you been licensed now?
It'll be 11 years in February.
I was going to say 11 or 12.
11 years in February.
And Daryl, why do we call him the new home ninja? Because this guy knows everything.
Well, let me just say something. Yeah, well, the new home ninja, because he's the new home ninja. He knows about every new home in Vegas. He does videos on YouTube. Everybody just
He knows the best deals out there. He knows how to negotiate with those builders, beat him up.
I have to say, at our Christmas party this weekend, for the Simply Vegas Christmas party, this guy is like a freaking rock star. Everybody's like, oh my God, what's up, Courtney? Da-da-da. I saw your video on Courtney. Like, everybody knew Courtney.
Oh, too funny.
I'm like, you guys,
great.
wait,
I liked
we
it.
should
It
be
was
selling
cool.
tickets to like come shake Courtney's hand. Like,
great.
new line of business
Yeah.
for us.
Absolutely.
It's true. It's true. We had a good time. That was a good party, right?
It was a really good party. And he's also the best dressed man in real estate.
Yes, he
Next
is.
to that guy. Look at
I
him.
mean,
Oh, no.
Courtney always dressing
You
sharp.
dress every day like that. I'm
Every
just
single day. So if you guys are looking
selective
for,
about
if you guys are looking for a good looking realtor that knows everything about new homes and resales, I mean, he does resales too, but I mean, his specialty is just, everything Vegas. So this dude he's just slick as can be.
Yes, he is.
But today we want to talk more, everything real estate, yearly recap, like what happened, you guys. We're in December. I got my holiday gear on today. And we just want to go over everything. And the biggest thing, what's the biggest in news right now today, Daryl Hannah?
Well, you're probably talking about the CPI index that
Ding,
came
ding,
out this morning,
Yep.
which was good news.
Great news.
Yeah, and it actually caused rates to go down.
You guys, interest rates. This is a big one. Interest rates have gone down.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to continue to go down, God
Hopefully.
willing. You guys, God willing.
Yeah, knock
because
on
the CPI, for those of you who don't know, that's the Consumer Pricing Index. And that's all to do with inflation. The reason why interest rates went up so much this year was due to inflation. And the government was trying to combat inflation. How do you do that? You slow down
Kill
buying.
the economy.
Oh, yeah, that happened too. So you slow down buying, and with that, they raise interest rates. And you guys, back in January, interest rates were as low as in the 2%. And then in the summertime, they got as high as like 7.5%, almost 8%, depending on your lender.
It was the fastest increase in rates in history.
In the history of the United States,
Yeah.
you guys.
Insane.
That's
So,
pretty big.
Courtney, what do you think that did to business? What did you see happen over the year? The year as a whole, looking back, what happened?
It was skirt.
Yeah.
That's it.
that's
I mean, it put the brakes on,
That about
and it
says
was
it.
for sure. And honestly, it wasn't even gradual. That's the weirdest part
Yep.
about the whole thing.
It was overnight.
I've been through a couple of downturns over the years, and the quickness and the abruptness of it was pretty shocking. You could literally feel it the next day. Like, uh-oh.
But you came in right after 08,
I did.
and so you didn't feel that one.
Even
though you learned during the
I learned
downtime,
during that, yeah.
but you weren't part of the uptime.
For sure.
So
At
this
that
is
time,
kind of your first,
for sure.
because I can tell you it happened the same way back then.
Was that right?
Oh, it was overnight.
It was a light switch, right? It was literally a light switch.
One day the fucking homes were selling, and the next day they weren't. Like literally that fast. So
And the problem is when you have things be so aggressive like that, the problem is what people don't understand is that sellers and buyers don't know because they're not doing it every single day like we are.
Right.
So you still have sellers who are like, no. A month ago, a week ago, 6 weeks ago, my neighbor sold the home. They got 27 offers and they got 50 grand above asking. So I want to price my home above theirs, and I want to get 50 grand over, and I want to have 27 buyers in the next 30 minutes. And you're like, wait a second, Mr. And
yeah, that was just like last week.
And then they don't believe you. And then they don't
not
believe
gonna
you because they're
happen
like, but they don't believe you because they're like, there's no way that it changed that quick overnight. And it does, especially in Las Vegas.
And that always happens. We've got this like 2-month period where it's like everybody needs to figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
and because they need to figure it out, the market comes to a screeching halt. It just
Yeah.
stops, you guys, because people are like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? Is it just my realtor?
So instead of doing anything, they just stop.
They just stop.
Yeah.
They just stop.
The buyers literally for 2 months there,
weren't doing anything.
There wasn't any leads coming over. Nobody was looking at property. No, we weren't getting any showings. Yep. Like literally, we went through months of no showings.
Without a doubt.
It was crazy.
These are reasonably priced homes. I had $380,000 homes that were not moving at all.
Stuff that should sell like overnight.
Correct.
You go through months of not one showing.
Without a doubt.
That's insane.
And because the sellers had to experience it in order to believe it.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Sure.
They had to experience it in order to believe it.
And I think where we're at right now is we're starting to see rates come down a little bit. They're starting to see that prices aren't going down 50%. They're seeing that, okay, the economy is still good.
Right.
Especially here in Vegas, we still have record numbers coming into the town.
Employment numbers for sure.
Yeah, we got people have jobs. The hotels are doing great. Gaming's doing great, right? So I think people are starting to like see that, okay, there are some deals out there.
Without a doubt.
Sellers are making deals happen. My buddy just closed on a house. He got a full 3%.
Yep.
My other buddy, he got $100,000 off the price of that. Like people are starting to like see it, right?
Without a doubt.
I got an offer accepted where the seller is paying 6% for the buyer, so they can do the 3-2-1 buy down, and they also agreed to up to $5,000 in repairs.
Yeah.
Like if there were any. And so I was like,
well, you're starting to see also sellers that just a month or two ago were just so hard-nosed. Like, I'm not going below this number, and now they are. Like, they're starting to soften a little bit.
I think now the transaction is definitely more of a group effort. It's not so combative. It's definitely, well, we need to get rid of this house. Let's work together. And gosh, I need some money to help me get in this house. Let's figure this out together. I think it's more collaborative. And I think that's a good
great
thing, honestly.
term, collaborative. It is. Buyers and sellers finally working with each other.
Yes.
Finally not like hating each other.
Right.
Because for years, it literally was like sellers didn't give two shits about a buyer.
For sure.
It was like, you want my house? You're going to freaking pay for it.
You should just be lucky I even answer the phone.
Right.
No, and the best thing is now is that like listing agents are calling the buyer agents back.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, wait, can I get some feedback? Thanks so much for showing it. What will
People
you
are
do?
picking up their phones.
Oh, and the tone of voice is amazing. Oh, everybody's so happy and kind. I love it.
Thanks for
Well, I'll tell you, as a listing agent, when I get a call from an agent, I'm always pretty nice.
You are.
And I answer my phone and I call people back.
do.
I do all that. But let me tell you, the tone coming from the other side is way different.
Right.
So it's actually nice.
Right.
Right. And that's what these kind of markets do is they level the playing field. It becomes a little bit more like, dude, I love collaborative because that is
So
perfect.
For sure.
Everybody's working with each other.
The funny thing is, even when the market's moving very quickly like that, and we're experiencing, record number of offers and so forth, it can still be that way.
It should still be that way.
It should still be that way.
100%.
Everybody's so concerned about being, taken advantage of or not leaving any money on the table that they forget to be decent, quite francly.
I got a funny story, man. Back in like six months ago, back when it was like the height of the insane market, right? I was on the buyer side. We made an offer, got it accepted, put it in escrow, got my home inspection report back.
Right.
Sent the lady. It was I won't say who she is, lady agent. It was like, I don't know, 7 things I asked for. She came unglued on me, like literally was yelling at me. How dare you send me a request for repairs? Right. And I'm thinking to myself,
Wait, what?
Oh my God. Like that's normal. Like, but for her, like that's just how agents were, right?
Right.
How dare you disrespect my like, are you kidding me?
Right. Right.
But now
it's all very
that wouldn't happen now.
No,
if I sent that 7 right now, they'd be like, we'll fix it.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Done.
And thank you for sending it. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Thank you for not canceling.
Yeah, thank you for not canceling. Like, oh my gosh, we just want to get it done. So, I mean, I love that. And you guys, going into the holiday season, there's always, I feel like a little market slowdown because you got a lot of buyers who are like, hey, I'll come and see the properties after the Christmas season's over, holiday season's over. You got some sellers who are like, I don't want to show my house right now. I have Christmas presents out. I got valuables out. I got things.
It's busy right now, right?
But this year,
all of a sudden,
let me recap that. Let me say, when I say this year, it's December of this year. All of a sudden now we're getting more showings. Buyers are out there. Things are happening.
Lead counts are up by about 800%. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's awesome.
Which is really good. Now, I don't know if we've seen a bunch of new escrows opened yet, like people actually going into contract yet, but I think we will. I think we're just about there.
Well, I think our team has put a few
our
in,
team,
right?
yeah. But I mean, we're killing
But we've been working hard for the last 3 months.
For sure.
Really have.
We've all been doing open houses. We've all been doing phone calls. We've increased our phone calls. We've increased everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of agents and a lot of people in general don't go full bore the last quarter of the year, but I always find that's when you can.
But that increases market share.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Of course it does. And again, these are the times when you really can get those deals. You know, I had a Facebook story a couple days ago about my buyer that went in, brand new home. $872,000 was the contract price. That's what the builder was going to put it on the market for. We got it for $656,000. And let me tell you,
650. Did you say 872?
That's right. And guess what? Strip views on this home as well. Upgrades throughout the house. And in fact,
New home ninja.
This isn't about me. This is about the buyer 100% because. They walked into our into Las Vegas on the 20th of November. We're closing on Monday.
Wow.
Less than 30 days.
Because there's a lot of standing
inventory
out there.
You can pick your home.
And this is the time, you can strike. I mean, I remember, do you guys remember when lot premiums were like $200,000 for like a 10,000 square foot lot?
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like, oh, wait, lot
and you'd
premiums,
walk in there and, hey, do you have anything available? Like, yeah.
They'd be like, get on a list.
We're sold out until like next year.
Yeah, they're like, or you can get a lottery. Lottery, we'll see if we can pull your name in a hat.
Yeah, we're going to put your name in a hat. Now it's like they're like begging you.
Oh my gosh, I got a funny story. I walk into, this is like earlier in the year, it's around February. I walk into a sales office, and this is a new home builder, okay? I won't say who because I don't want to get this person fired. And the sales rep, I'm in there talking to her, and I go, do you guys have any inventory? We go and look at the models. She's like, no, we don't have anything. I'm like, what's the build out? She's like, 2 years. I'm like, 2 years? She's like, well, I got to tell people 2 years. We have up to 2 years to build a home because there were still supply chain issues. And like, they didn't know. She was like, probably a year, but like, let's go 2 years, okay? Big builder in Summerlin. And I'm talking to her. I'm like, my clients really want this house. I kid you not, on my kid's life, you guys, she pulls me aside. This is the sales agent, okay? And she goes, so there's this bracelet I've really been wanting at Tiffany's. If you get me this bracelet, it was like $1,000.
She did not.
Hand to Jesus on my children's lives, all 3 of their lives. She says to me, there's this bracelet I really wanted at Tiffany's. If you get me this bracelet, she pulls it up on her phone, right? If you get me this bracelet and you drop this off tomorrow,
you'll go to the top of the list.
She's like, I'll find a lot for your client. And I was like,
but it was crazy like that.
I'm like, yeah, things were happening.
Those new home agents really did wield a lot of power.
It's true.
Back in those days.
Yeah. Back in those days, 8 months ago, 6 months ago.
Oh, and their attitudes have changed.
And you were glad to go get that bracelet.
Hey, I'm not saying if I did or didn't. All I'm
now.
saying is that is what happened in this
Did you get the
scenario.
bracelet?
I can't say. I would
did.
never. I would have rubbed her
violation.
feet.
We would never do
You guys, I
something
would
like
never. But all I'm saying
Crazy
is
talk.
sometimes things just magically happen. I don't know who does those things. I would never. You guys, I would never. Okay, but there's.
You have a Tiffany bracelet on right now?
No, I don't have a Tiffany bracelet on. I wish I did. Hey, Courtney, I need this Tiffany's bracelet.
Oh boy.
So you guys,
those crazy times.
So since we talk all things, not just real estate, let's talk about the economy a little bit here, because I know a lot of people are talking about the economy, worried about the economy. So here's a good telltale sign. Now, we needed inflation to cool down.
Sign too. You go first.
We needed inflation to cool down, but do you know that 95% of retailers said that they did not hit their projections for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So a lot of the retailers continued to keep those sales going. It was unlike they were projecting these big, huge sales numbers, big, huge numbers, and they didn't hit them. So I think that number one, some people are like, oh
so
my
now
gosh,
it's
that's
Black
scary.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Right?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
But I don't think that's scary, you guys. I think that's a good thing. We were spending money like it was water. Like we were just making it rain.
But that's what keeps inflation high.
That's what keeps inflation high. So we need things to level out a little bit.
So here's my telltale sign.
Okay.
And this has been happening now for maybe a month or two, but man, you go try to find a parking place at the airport. It's impossible. There are no, because I travel a lot with my son's hockey, and I go to park. I got to go park out in the economy overflow parking because there's no spaces available.
Yeah.
So I know this town is packed. There's people here.
What about the Christmas party?
Oh, I was just going to say.
To the valet. There's people everywhere.
You couldn't even walk through the casino.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, the best part. Okay, so you guys, you guys know I've been in Vegas since I was 6 years old. Okay, I'm a female. Most valets are dudes. Most, right? And I always, when I know that I'm going to like a big event or it's like a weekend in Vegas, I always have some cash on me. So I pull up to the valet. And I have a nice car. So generally they'll park your car in valet if you have a nice car. There's a couple little tips in Vegas. It's just the old lady things are done. So I'm a female. I'm looking good. I must say so myself because I'm dressed and ready to party. I pull up and I'm like, hey, so I'm here. They're like, are you checking in? I'm like, no, I'm here for a party. And I look good. And the guy's like, oh, no, we're full. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, but I'm a chick. I look good. Like, it's a young dude. Got a nice car. I'm like, here's $20. He's like, no, we're full. And I'm like, you're really full. And he's like, no, seriously,
Better
we
show
are
me
over.
a Ben Franklin room key.
Yeah. And he's like, no, we were like seriously over parked. And I go, okay. So I try to give him a hundo. He's like, the next valet is open, but this valet's full. And I'm thinking, damn, Vegas is on fire.
Back you guys in the day, that would have been
you guys tried
right
to
about that. When I went to leave, I don't like to wait for my car.
Uh-huh.
I put two 20s in my hand with my ticket. I couldn't pay anybody to take it.
The guy's
like,
I would not
just give me the
take
ticket.
Dude, so
and that's
freaking.
how I always do it.
And they're so freaking busy. I mean, I don't know if you've walked through a casino floor lately or anybody out there. If you guys haven't walked through a casino floor.
Oh, you can't even
Not
walk.
even just on the weekends. You guys, I was walking through, we had some family in town. We went on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's packed.
In the Cosmo, I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder. Like I thought it was at like a freaking concert or something. We couldn't walk through the casino floor in a huge casino. I mean, it was packed. And then we had some other buddies that we dropped off on a Monday. Freaking packed. You guys, this isn't just a weekend. It was like, damn,
All the tables. Like
people.
I got there early, wanted to go like play a few rounds of blackjack, and there wasn't like one seat available.
Right.
I mean, it was just completely packed.
So I love when people are like, oh my gosh, we're in a recession. Because like part of me is like, yeah, we're in a recession. The other part of me is like, dude, money is being spent everywhere.
So that's a good point. Like you can't, that's another thing that you can't fear the word recession. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the reason why this big slowdown, because everyone's like, oh my God, we're in a recession. Well, I think we've been in a recession for a long time.
For sure.
No one's willing to admit it. But recession really just means, what does it mean? Two consecutive quarters of GDP
negative.
Non-growth, negative.
Yep.
That at the end of the day is not the end of the world.
No.
Right.
That doesn't mean that the world's ending and that we're, it's
and it's very specific to the individual. I mean, you can say that the recession, affects you a certain way, but you can't dictate how it affects these other
But the word
people.
recession, people think of 2008.
Right, exactly. The sky doesn't
And
necessarily
they're like,
have to be
oh my God,
falling.
recession? Right. I'm not buying.
Right.
Because my house isn't going to be worth 60%
Recession simply
less.
means pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That you're making smart decisions.
All the videos out right now by all the professional, like stock pickers, Kramer, all these guys, they're all talking about you shouldn't really be super afraid of the word recession.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that word by itself does not mean like
Now,
stop
crash,
like living your life.
Crash is completely different.
Yeah, crashes and that's why I personally feel like we're not going to see a crash.
Yep.
We're seeing a correction.
Right.
And you just said it earlier. It's actually a good thing. We all need to be working together. Buyers, sellers. It shouldn't be so lopsided that just sellers get everything and buyers don't get anything. Like it should be.
And on top of that,
because that's how sellers feel that way now. They're feeling that same.
And it would be just like it would be very bad for it to swing the other way and have 20,000 homes on the market.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And sellers can't sell their home without that's a crash.
Right.
So hopefully we don't get there.
Well, and let's talk about that really quick too, because I do want to make a mention. You guys, don't forget that actual real estate millionaires are made when you buy, not when you sell. You're never. It's all about buying correctly. So when the market starts to correct, this is when opportunity is knocking. Do you guys hear that? Opportunity is knocking at the door. And those who are not going to be afraid to answer the door are the ones that are going to make money. I remember 2008 to 2012. I'm going to use one client as an example. His name is Ron. I'm not going to give you his last name. Ron, nice dude, probably about to be 60, maybe his late 50, early 60s. So young guy. He comes to me and he goes,
thanks.
yeah, right? Comes to me and he goes, Jillian, I got $1.4 million in my 401k. Saved up his whole life, right? $1.4 million in my 401k. He goes, but I'm willing to pull out $1 million. And what can you get me? Now, at the time...
When was this?
This is like 2008 to 2010 is when he was buying. So at the time, we picked up 10 houses for $1 million. They were all, cookie cutters. They were all like 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-story homes. They were all within 10 years old. They were all the standard cookie cutter homes.
So you
like
bought 10 $100,000 homes.
They were all roughly $100,000. Like maybe one was 105, maybe it was 120, maybe one was 95, but they were all roughly $100,000, okay? That guy held on to those homes for 6 years. Now, not even 2022, okay? He held on to them for 6 years. So I remember he calls me. We stopped buying more like 2010. So he calls me like 2016. He goes, Jillian, can you comp these houses for me? Now, they had all been rentals. He's making money, cash flow every single month.
Because he owns them outright.
Yep, he owns them outright. Average rent at that time. Remember that period of time, the average rent on every 3-bedroom was about $1,200 a month?
Yep.
$1,200 a month times 10 properties. He's making $12,000 a month. Now, yeah, there's HOA, trash, taxes, all that stuff. But let's just say he's net profiting at $10,000 a month. So $10,000 a month, he's getting 10% return on his $1 million, right? $10,000 a month, enough to live on. And I go to comp those properties 6 years later. Guess what the properties are worth? You guys are going to probably be able to know, but guess what the properties are worth?
Probably double.
Probably 3.5, I bet.
I comped those 10 properties, and we sold the majority of them for $4.2 million.
4.2?
Wow.
4.2. He spent $1 million, so he 4x'd his money because about the $200,000 was probably costs, fees, selling costs, everything. But he 4x'd his money. Plus, for 6 years, he net profited about $10,000 a month. So $120,000 times 6 years. So you're like what, like 600? Yeah, about 700. No, another like let's call it $700,000 plus his $4 million. So he took his $1 million and made $4.7 million out of it.
I love it.
Now that would have never happened in his 401k.
No,
I mean,
and you know what?
Go ahead.
Ahead. No, go ahead.
You know what's funny is that people always skip past the buy and hold. The buy and hold is such a good strategy. Yep. Everybody wants to be a flipper because that's what's sexy. They see it on TV. They think it's so great. But the truth of the matter is you can get yourself a decent property, grab some rent from it, and sit on it and get that equity share.
Absolutely.
You are going to win almost every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's not enough of that, in my opinion.
No. And what I take out of your story, and I think
opportunity knocking.
Most people don't realize how important it is to have the money when it's time to buy.
Yes.
That comes back. That goes down to saving your money. You need to save the money so that when times are good, you have it to do what he did. Yep. He had at 1.4.
And do you guys think that he wasn't scared? He had $1.4 million. He was taking out $1 million. He was taking out like 85% of his net worth that he worked 30 years to save.
But also another key thing about your story is that when he did that, everyone was wondering if the world was going to end.
They were. People were panicked, and they were like, "Oh my God, what is this guy doing?"
That was at a time when you didn't even want to go spend $100 because you're like, dude, am I even going to like have a job next week? Like it was bad back then.
Right.
Yep.
So you remember all the people that were trying to sell like survival gear, and they were like, you need to buy like a year's worth of food and stuff. Do you remember that?
100%.
Yeah. He did that when that was happening.
Yep.
So that takes balls.
It does. Huge. And I remember talking about it, and he was just like, I should have bought 10 more. Like I should have found a way to leverage. I should have financed some of them.
Right. And we should have bought about 100
Yeah,
condos.
Exactly. Looking back, instead of paying
$40,000
cash for all of them, he should have went and just did like 30% down on all of them and bought like 20 of them. Yeah. And so then he would have had, $8 million when it was all said and done or whatever.
He still did good.
That's so funny. But, in 2011 is when I took my testing to get my license, and I'm telling you, people would because I had no business, I would just call all day. I'd literally call 8 hours a day. Daryl knows that.
Yeah.
And people would tell me, nah, I think I'm going to wait. You could get a decent house for $100,000 back then. Just like you said, 3-bedroom, 1,500 square feet, 2-car garage in a good neighborhood.
In like a 4,000 square foot lot, 5,000 square foot lot.
No, every day.
Yeah.
And those same people are crying about rates today.
Yeah.
You have to the thing is, you have to be able to recognize the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Warren Buffett says.
Yep.
Right.
You have to be able to go and buy when everyone's scared.
Yep.
Right.
And you also have the money to buy when everyone's scared.
Right. By the time you see it on the news, it's too late.
Absolutely.
Yep.
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 Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to mention. So it's like it's that opportunity knock, right? So I've been a flipper, I've done flips, and I put some money into some properties earlier this year. And I'll tell you, like there's one property I put in $400,000 cash of my money into the property. And I thought to myself, I took it out of my 401k, right? And I thought to myself, all right, so the market's gone down. But at the end of the day, you guys, I was just going to say I'm 38, but I'm actually 40. Didn't even know my own age. I'm thinking, do I need that money today? I don't. So it's
still sitting there.
If I just let it, it's just like sitting in my 401k. If I just let it sit there for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, wait till my market gets better, do I even care? I don't even care. I mean, honestly, did I initially?
And the land's not going anywhere.
Did I initially go into it thinking like this was going to be a flip? We're going to build a house on this land, Yeah, I did.
And it could still end up being that.
And it could be, but now my plan might just shift, and maybe it takes 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, doesn't matter. It was sitting in my 401k. I don't need the money right now, anyways. If I see opportunity, and I need to leverage it, I could pull a loan against it. I could sell it quickly if a better opportunity comes along.
You could drop the price, sell it, move it. Yeah.
So
you have options. That's the thing.
But that's the key it's to know what you can when you can. When you see that opportunity come in, it's just like with crypto. We put some money in crypto, but I mean, I know you did really good in crypto. I did great in crypto, and then crypto fell. But I remember every dollar I put into crypto, I thought, this is money that I don't care if I lose. So I wasn't going to put in my life
Well, if you're going to put money into
savings.
crypto, it needs to be money that you're
Yeah,
like
but
not
it's like
worried
if it
about
goes
losing.
down, great. If it goes up, great. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. That to me was like I was gambling. I'm like, I'm gonna put it on black and let's hope that black goes through, right? And like that's how it's gonna go. And so at the end of the day, like my Coinbase just sent me a credit card yesterday that I could use it against my crypto account. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna let it roll.
Yeah,
I'm gonna roll the dice.
No,
see what
just be
happens,
patient.
right?
Yeah, it's like real estate. Time heals all wounds.
And I believe crypto will come back.
Oh, 100%.
I believe real estate is
100%.
absolutely real estate's coming back like sooner versus later.
Well, that's the thing is we have historical knowledge that lets us know you don't have to really be that afraid about your real estate holdings. You don't.
No.
It's just
That's
a
why I
matter
say
of
time.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
In real estate, time heals all wounds.
It does.
Because right now you might
And
be
it's
hurting.
a tangible asset.
But if
It
you can
is.
hold
Don't
it
forget about that.
over the long period of time, it's always going to do great.
100%.
And for young people listening, I just can't stress enough, save your money. It is my number one biggest regret of my life is not saving more when I was making it.
Yeah.
To a point, I agree with you, but I think you need to make sure that your money is working for you as well.
For sure.
The days of just socking away every dollar you have, I don't know that that's effective, but I think if you find out ways like,
But you have
maybe
to have the
saving-
money to spend when
For
the
sure.
investment hits there.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm not saying you have to save every dollar.
Yeah, no, I get what
but,
you're saying. Yeah,
you know, it's nice if you don't have to have $1.4 million, but what if you had $100,000 sitting in a bank,
Right.
and somebody said, "Hey, I want to sell this condo for $70,000 that you could sell tomorrow for $200,000." That did happen to me.
Absolutely.
One of my best flips ever.
Right.
And at the time I was able to do it.
Yeah.
I went and got an investor and da-da-da. But man, if you don't have the money, you're just going to have to go, God, I wish I could do it, but I can't.
I'll tell you what, I saw a lot of young faces in the walking through the MGM last weekend, and there's the drinks in there are $30 $30 a pop, and they've got on red bottoms, and they've got on really nice belts, and you should have bought a house. JB, you bought your house when you were 18, am I right?
18. My first. Let me tell you real quick on
All
that
out
story.
after you get the house.
So 18 years old, you guys.
Watch Gary Vee videos.
And I'll tell you this: my first house was $100,000. It was actually a little townhouse, okay, but it had a 1-car garage. It had a backyard, 3 bedrooms. It was 1,200 square feet in Vegas. My mom tells me I graduated high school at 17, about to turn 18.
And that was your first house. You lived in it.
My first house, I lived in it. My mom tells me, and I'm like, I'm moving out. So my mom was a realtor at the time. My mom goes, well, don't just go rent something. You should buy something. And I'm like, okay. So I go and find out FHA loan. At the time, my interest rate was 7.99%. And I was just grateful that Wells Fargo
That you
gave
got
me
approved.
a loan. Okay, basically 8%. 3.5%. So I needed $3,500. And I needed about $3,500 for closing costs. So I needed $7,000. Now, for an 18-year-old, $7,000 is a lot of money, especially when my mom was like, "I'm not giving you a dollar." My mom,
Right.
my mom even made commission on me. Like she didn't give me anything. So she's like, "Okay." So what I did was I was working in title and escrow. I took a part-time job evenings and weekends, and I saved up for 6 months to put aside $7,000. Okay.
Wow.
Now remember, I mean, even in my escrow business at that time, I was making like $12 an hour pre-tax, so it wasn't a ton of money. But I'm like, I'm gonna do this, right? So I graduated high school in June. I closed on June 4th was like our graduation date. I closed on my house December 22nd. December 22nd was the first house I ever bought, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you're 18." I'm 6 months into being 18. My mortgage payment on $100,000, the 7.99 interest rate, was about $800, and then but I was a townhouse, so my HOA was $150. So $950 was my all-in cost. I had 2 girlfriends move in with me from college that I knew. They each paid $350, which included their utilities. So they had a place to live for $350, but that was $700. So basically, my mortgage to me was $100 plus $150 for HOA, so it was $250 plus utilities. They weren't much, probably another $150. So I was paying $400 a month.
Wow.
I wasn't going to even be able to rent, even in the hood, an apartment for $400 a month. So I'm like, okay, and I built equity. I owned that condo for 18 months. It went up to $135,000. I paid $100. So by the time I paid my closing cost, I sold it. By the time I paid my closing costs and commissions, I still made, because I still had to pay commission to my mom, wasn't a realtor yet, because I was 19 and a half. Yeah. I still made like $25,000. I put that $25,000 into my next house when I was 19, which was a new build with KB. It was $157,000. That went up within 2 years. I sold that thing for over $200,000. Took the equity from that house, bought my next house and an investment property. I had owned the house and the house right behind me. So at 23, I was on to my 4th property.
That's awesome.
And it was that one an investment. And my investment at the time was making me $1,000 a month that I put in towards my mortgage. And then I sold both those properties and bought a really expensive, at 25, when I was married to James, what was expensive to me? It was a $700,000 house.
Yeah.
And I was like,
especially at that time.
Damn. And I was 25. I was like, oh, damn, this is like, but again, at that point I had $250,000 from the equity.
But it all started out from your first purchase.
From my first purchase of $7,000.
What Courtney said
but
is
I'll tell you this.
Get your house.
I'll tell you this really quick. I will tell you this. The difference between me at 18 and 18-year-olds then, I didn't go to Starbucks once. I got my hair cut at Supercuts, which was like $12 for a haircut. I dyed my own hair in my bathtub. I still shopped at Ross or TJ Maxx.
Yeah, you were frugal.
I never went to a mall. Back then, Meadows Mall was a big deal. Never went to a mall. I didn't own a pair of shoes over $50. All my shirt. I always looked like $1 million.
You're still kind of like that, though. You know that?
I'm still kind of frugal.
People think that you throw money around and you
on big things.
Well, you have begun to spend a little bit more on yourself, which you should because you work your ass off.
I was very surprised.
But when I first met you, you didn't own a Louis bag.
No,
you didn't. You drove a. What was it? You drove a. It was an Infiniti.
Infiniti, yeah.
You didn't have a.
Because my mom
about the Infiniti.
My mom used to always say. My mom always says to me. She still says this to this day. She goes, "You're the brokest millionaire I've ever known."
Yeah.
And I go, why do you say that? And she goes, and I'll tell you my sister too. This is a little story about my sister. My sister, who is the national executive for Bank of America. She oversees all Bank of Americas in the entire country. She's the highest line female executive in the bank, making well into six figures. She was wearing a dress this weekend, and I go, damn, that dress is so pretty. Where'd you get it from? She goes, me girl, it was Ross. It was $30.
Yeah.
I mean, this is somebody making, I don't want to say, but well over $300,000 a year. She's buying herself a $30 dress because she won't spend. We were just raised not to spend money like that. Now, I'll buy houses and cars and big things, right? But like, this was from Amazon. My dress, I look cute today. But it was like, my whole outfit's probably under $100. I mean, that's because my boots were probably $40, $50, $60. But I mean, still to this day, like, I got 2 pairs of expensive shoes. I've worn them once. Like, I'm afraid to wear it. I don't buy any jewelry unless it's like my wedding ring was expensive. Yeah. I still get
Hopefully you didn't pay for that.
I still get my hair cut at Supercuts. And actually, my boyfriend just dyed my hair in the bathtub the other night.
Oh, nice.
Like, John dyed my hair for me. Yeah. So I do get extensions now, you guys, but that's about it. But I do spend money on my nails. My nails are my thing. But that's it. I mean, I still, for being successful, I still have that little bit of fear of spending money.
That's good.
So I'll tell you guys one more thing. When I go shopping, this is always a thing that I was doing. This must be from just growing up and not having any money. I go shopping, I put things in my cart. I don't care if it's a grocery store. I don't care if it's like TJ Maxx, who's my favorite store, Home Goods. I don't care. I put things in my cart. And I don't know if everybody does this, or this is just me. I then talk myself out of what's in the cart before I get to the
I don't know anybody that does that.
checking, the checkout. I do. So about 30% of what gets in my cart doesn't make it to the register every time. And I don't care, you guys. This is when I had $2 million sitting in the bank.
You're the person that the stock boys hate because they find all this stuff like in some random spot.
But you guys, I'm telling you, this
go backs. That's what they're called.
When I had $2 million liquid in the bank, I'd be like, do I really need this $30 vase? I mean, I don't need it. I mean, I have other ones, and I got a bunch of stuff. Who needs more stuff? But I would talk myself out of about 30% of what's in my cart.
Yeah.
Even if it was $20, I'd be like, do I really need that expensive cheese? I'll just get the Kroger cheese. Like at the grocery store, I still do it. You guys, I don't have a crazy person. I don't know if everybody does that, but that's so me.
You do that?
I do not.
Yeah, me either.
Like you're like, if it gets in the cart, I'm buying it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh my God, my Amazon cart. So Sandy can tell you because Sandy our assistant gets in, and I put stuff in my Amazon cart and I let it sit there for about a week and a half before I decide if I want to buy it. And 9 times out of 10, I put save for later. That little button where you take out your cart. And I don't. And then she's like, Jillian, she goes, so that's how she always knows, like gift ideas. Whenever she buys me a gift, she's like, I just look in your Amazon cart. What you saved for later is what you wouldn't buy for yourself. I'm like, I know, you guys, I'm sorry. It's great.
That is a good strategy. I've actually done that a couple times, and it does work. If you just
wait.
If you just stick it on like save and then look at it later, a lot of the times, like, I don't need that shit.
I really don't need it.
I don't.
I need to do that.
But I just think it's a good economic indicator, though, back to what we were talking about. It's just like seeing the world still coming alive. I mean, I think Vegas is going to fare. We're a weird city, right? Because we're very transit. And we're not a big college town, even though we're getting bigger with UNLV. Mm-hmm. But it's a very transit city. And so what I like is that, I'll give you guys another example. The MSG Sphere, which is almost done, which is going to be the newest, biggest, best concert hall out there. LED screens on the outside, inside, everything. You're able to see everything. Yeah. The biggest concert hall in Las Vegas. During COVID, they never stopped that. They never stopped building that. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, are we going to afford? I mean, that's $1 billion. Are we going to be able to afford to build this? Nope. We're still going forward. After we had T-Mobile, after we had the Raiders Stadium, after we have MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, we have a lot of concert halls. We have a lot of venues. They were like, no. We have the Coliseum.
But the thing with all those you just named, T-Mobile,
got a baseball diamond coming. We're gonna have a
T-Mobile, Allegiant. They're all sold out.
All the time.
T-Mobile was actually built to have hockey and basketball, but now they say they can't have basketball in there.
So now we need another arena for that.
They're gonna do a separate NBA arena.
Nice.
Because they're too busy.
Right.
So one more thing. Let's talk about, like, to me, this is like crazy. You guys, we're old enough to understand this. Can we talk about concert tickets for a freaking minute? Getting a concert ticket now is like winning the freaking lottery. Like, first off, you got to be up at midnight. You got like I tried to get Taylor Swift concert tickets. I had the VIP for having a PSL holder at Allegiant. Then I had American Express, which gives you VIP access. I had Taylor Swift Fan Club VIP access. I had Capital One VIP access. And I still couldn't get a goddamn Taylor Swift. So, I mean, they didn't even make it. Ticketmaster didn't even make it to the public sales because all those damn VIP sales, they still sold out. And now if you want to resell concert tickets, even in the nosebleeds, it's like $2,000 a ticket. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, I'll skate right past the fact that you're in the Taylor Swift fan club.
I love T-Swift.
But aside from the fact that
probably shouldn't be admitting that in public.
But the price too. I saw a concert. I wanted to go see a stupid little festival with like some old bands from the 90s. $400 for some bullshit general admission tickets.
Yeah.
So the smart money though is what you do is you wait until it gets very, very close to the event.
To the actual day of the event.
And you snatch them up. Otherwise,
same way with hockey tickets. Like you wait until the day.
Yep.
And then they go way down.
Crazy. I mean, now I did get lucky. Last year, Adele, in January, I think it was like December, January, whatever. She was doing her concert tickets. Cancel. And she had to cancel because of COVID originally. But I wanted Adele tickets and they went insane. Same thing like Taylor Swift, like $8,000 a ticket. And I'm like, oh, geez, I can't afford freaking $50,000 to take my sisters and my kids, you know? So,
and nor would you.
So I posted on Facebook and somebody sold them to me for just double what they paid. So I paid like $800 a ticket, but they were amazing tickets. Now, when I finally, because she canceled and rescheduled, we just went November 18th. We went to her first show. I took my daughter and my mom, and it was actually beautiful. 3 generations. My daughter flew in town from Reno, from college to come and see her. It was a beautiful experience. But I had somebody, so I paid $800 a ticket, so $2,400, 3 tickets. I had somebody offer me $10,000 for those tickets. Wow. I was so tempted to sell it. I was like, dude, I can make 3 fucking 4 times my money.
Back to school.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm like, but it was my daughter's Christmas gift that I had given her the year before.
Right.
So, and then my mom got to go, and I never just had that alone time with just my daughter, my mom, and me, and like as adults, because we're all adults now, so that was super nice. But God, you guys, concert tickets are insane.
They are.
And it's literally like the luck of the draw.
Everything's expensive.
Insane, you guys. So, I mean, so that's, really, I feel like we hit a lot of good topics. I feel like we talked a lot about what's happening in the economy, not just real estate, but Vegas stuff. Vegas is on fire, you guys. Do you feel it?
It is.
Vegas is absolutely on fire.
Super resilient.
Always. Well, you guys, that we're basically out of time. We had a really good show. Courtney, any last little tidbits or anything you want to leave our viewers with?
No, just have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year, be kind to each other, and call me for real estate.
He's the best, you guys. That's the new Home Ninja.
I want to leave everyone saying my favorite button on Amazon is the Buy Now button. Boom.
Buy now. Boom. Buy now. All right, you guys. Well, this is Jillian Batchelor.
Daryl Hannah.
And Courtney Beauford, and we're Vegas Real
Home
Talk.
Ninja.
Thank you guys for being with us today. We'll see you
guys.
soon. Bye.